listening to the Pasco Podcast with Mike Carballa. Welcome to Season 3 of Pasco Podcast, a series about leadership and public service. We'd like to thank our sponsors, the nearly 600,000 people of Pasco County, as represented by the Board of County Commissioners. It's through their trust and empowerment of our workforce and leadership team that we're able to bring you this podcast. This podcast is designed to help public servants build leadership skills and leverage them for success by sharing the experiences of our peers.
Hi, I'm Mike Carballa, and welcome to our 47th episode of Pasco Podcast. On each show, we usually highlight Pasco County's leaders, but you don't need a fancy title or years of experience to be leading the way in Pasco, and our team members prove that every day. January is National Mentoring Month, and not only do we encourage that in our organization, we actually have a pretty amazing mentoring opportunity to help our team members develop their leadership skills. We call it our Leadership Development Program, or LDP. And joining me today are two recent LDP graduates, Khalil Abu-jamous from Information Technology and Shaina Smith from Libraries. Shaina, Khalil, welcome. How are you guys today?
Great. Thanks for having us.
All right, guys, all fired up, ready to be here, huh?
Yeah. Super fired up.
Well, Khalil, since you're super fired up, why don't you take a few minutes to tell us about yourself and how you came to Pasco County?
Yeah, so I grew up in Pasco County, in Hudson specifically.
Okay.
Okay, you're gonna edit this, right?
Nope. Keep on going.
I frequented libraries a lot as a kid, and did participated in a lot of programs there, especially the music programs.
Okay.
It made good friends with the librarians going into my teen years, and Kevin Griffith was a librarian there at the time, who is now the administrator, when I came to Pasco, I applied for a job, didn't get that job. However, like 3 or 4 years later, Kevin had reached out to me and mentioned a new position that had opened up and asked me to apply. I applied, interviewed, totally knocked it out of the park. And yeah, that was in 2020, January 2020. Now it's been almost 5 years.
Well, fantastic. And then you transferred over to IT, I guess, at some point in the time.
I did. Yeah? I just recently transferred over to IT. Todd Bailey was my LDP mentor, an incredible mentor. I've learned so much from him, and I'm enjoying my time in IT now.
Okay, fantastic. We'll get more into that a little bit later there. Shaina.
So I kind of have a story similar to Khalil's. I moved down here with my family when I was in middle school, and in high school, I actually became a teen volunteer at the Regency Park Library under the newly minted teen librarian, Miss Tracy Blimes, who is now one of our regional managers. She always used to joke with me that I was such a good teen volunteer that I ruined teen volunteers for her. And she made libraries so entertaining and memorable that I carried that with me through high school and into college. And eventually, when I moved to the east side of the county, I became a presenter with libraries. So I came in and I did a lot of programs with teens and helped with teen volunteering at Hugh Embry Library, which is where I'm at now. And that was where I met Angelo Lorenzo, who was my boss at the time. And he was such a pillar of the community, and his staff loved him. I was like, this is a great place to work. This is where I want to work.
Awesome.
So I applied for a job that was there, didn't get it, similar to Khalil. Came back a little while later to another job, didn't get it. But through that time, I was still working as a presenter and getting to know Angelo and the team. And finally, when a position in youth services opened, I applied, got the job, was super excited. And soon after, my predecessor, Miss Angela Redmond Theodore, she moved up into our circulation supervisor position and actually recommended me for the youth services lead.
Well, fantastic. I love the fact that you guys are both local, especially even to Pasco County. Middle school counts. That's I mean, but coming up through that and then being able to work for your local government, and then the story of coming up through libraries is simply fantastic. So, we've been running Pasco County's Leadership Development Program for probably a decade, maybe a little bit more. It's a big commitment, right? I mean, it's about an 8-month-long program. What made you want to apply, Shaina?
So everybody around me, kind of in the 5 years that I was working with the county, would tell me, oh, you're a good leader. You should really apply yourself as a leader. But I never saw myself as one. So when I learned about LDP, I did kind of what library personnel do, and I did my research and I talked with LDP alum and my supervisors and my mentors, and they were all like, you should do it. So I was very nervous to apply, but I got the gumption to apply and said, you know what, if I can get through this, then it really proves to me that I am a leader.
Very, very, very cool. Khalil, how about you?
I think that there was a growing demand for audiovisual things happening in libraries, and we needed more personnel. I had been there for long enough, and I'd taken the reins, and bringing on more people. I knew that I needed leadership skills if I was going to be managing people. So I think the staff and the administration saw that, and they recommended me. And I gratefully took it up, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's the deal, huh? So you went through the fun interview process. Kevin asked you what kind of animals you were. I don't even know. It's usually something weird. So why don't you guys walk us through the process of what that was like, so folks can kind of understand how you got to where you're at. I don't care. Shaina, why don't you start? Go ahead.
So I think really the first part of the process is just learning about that LDP exists.
Sure,
right?
sure. So you did your research, right?
Which makes it a lot easier now with our team, where we created the NeoGov classes with our current resources one. It talks about LDP. So that was the first hurdle to get over. But once you get through that and you get over the nerves of applying, you go through an interview process where the entire leadership team is sitting there in front of you and previous LDP alumni, and they're asking you hard-hitting questions about what is leadership to you, and how do you plan on bringing that into Pasco County, or either furthering that in Pasco County. After that, it kind of goes into a kind of a three-step process. Ben liked to joke about it that it's the learn, experience, apply.
Sure.
Where in the first stage you learn. So we went through a 5-day boot camp, right? Yeah, 5-day boot camp where we kind of learned leadership techniques, leadership styles, who we were as a leader. There were laughs, there were tears, but we made it through that, and we went into the experience phase, which was we were assigned a mentor. And from there, we went on field trips and really got an inside look at Pasco County, a behind the scenes look, I guess, if you will. And then, of course, learned from our mentor. And finally, the apply stage is where we took all of that and we applied it to our research project / presentation that we did.
And that presentation was pretty cool, I admit.
You.
So, Khalil, maybe you want to kind of expand on, as a member of the class, how you guys came up with that idea and, kind of pursued it.
Yeah, the presentation was our main objective. I think making the products was something that was really easy for us as a group of professionals. We knew we would be able to get this data. We knew we'd be able to create some classes for NeoGov to help fellow coworkers. But we wanted the presentation to be just a great time, a party, and we wanted the audience to laugh and even have some shock value to it. So we...
puppets, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a roller coaster for sure. So we worked really hard on the presentation itself, just making sure that it was every time we went through the PowerPoint that we had a fun time. Every single time we went through the PowerPoint, reviewed it, and kept adding to it. It just kept getting better and more fun for everyone in the class. And we knew at the end that we were gonna shock the audience and make them laugh. And I understand. My assistant said you guys got a little edgy on one of those things. That was we better find out. And I laughed. I thought it was classic. Anything to add to that, Shaina?
I think just as a group as a whole, we worked really well and communicated with one another and really stuck the landing. Khalil's PowerPoint and videography skills really came into play with the videos that were played. I know that I recommended, because we kind of listened to one another and we're talking, and everybody really had their own spin on things. And I was like, well, why don't we have a guy sitting in the audience, and he's watching TV, and we can all have parts of what we want in that. So everybody kind of had a voice.
Yeah, no, fantastic. What, how did the program help you grow, both maybe personally and professionally?
Personally, it really helped me to determine that I was a leader, right? Like that's what I set out to do, and it accomplished that. It also helped me gain 24 new friends, that I talk to still on a daily basis, and we reach out to one another if we need things. And that was a really nice thing to be able to have. It really is a really nice thing to be able to have. Professionally, it provided me with a new network of people that I didn't know before. Parts of the county I, didn't know existed. As we said in our presentation, we've got 58 lines of business. Didn't know that going into it, but now I do. And I know people from a lot of those lines of business. And just being able to reach out to them and know that either they can help me or they can connect me with somebody really is a good thing to have.
Fantastic. How about you, Khalil?
Yeah, I feel way more comfortable now working in the county, now that I've seen the depths of it and the heights of it. It's incredible. I've never had colleagues this close to me in any other profession now because of LDP. It's changed me personally in so many ways. I'm so grateful for the experience, actually. Changing positions was not the best byproduct of it. The best byproduct of it was the social aspect, and having met so many people from different departments and understanding how they do their jobs and understanding county operations was mind-blowing.
Yeah. Well, and maybe, finding a new position in the county wasn't what you set out to do.
It certainly wasn't.
It was a natural byproduct, you say. So, I mean, but maybe it kind of inspired you to be, the kind of leader that you want to become. So, how did LDP kind of help you kind of figure that out? What type of leader did you want to become as you because we all lead in different ways, and there's different areas where we can lead. It's not just the physical areas, but how we lead too. Did that help you kind of figure that out?
I knew that my profession's pretty niche, so I needed to become a very special type of leader in my own compartmentalized area of the county, and that required a lot of individual strength and a lot of networking skills. And I work for a lot of departments, so being able to work with people really well, being a people pleaser has always been a good strength of mine. So I think that translated really well from department to department, and it did clarify what kind of leader I needed to be. I think it's kind of special in my case a little bit.
Yeah, well, as you point out, I mean, it's different at every level in the organization. Being a leader just on the front line, whether it's formal or informal, is a leadership role, all the way from being a supervisor to a manager to a department head, an ACA, or even in my job, or even as the board, in the Board of County Commissioners. So the skills that we need to lead are very, very different, and how we lead are different. There's some things that are the same, but there's just sometimes it's just different. So, I'm glad you got that out of there. How about you?
I had an idea of how I wanted to lead, by how I wanted to be treated by a leader. Now, I didn't have a name for that, but going through LDP and working with my mentor, Christina Cordon, she really helped me put a name to it. And man, I can tell you, that leadership team, they really know how to put you with your mentor, because Christina is all about servant leadership. And I was like, that is exactly what I'm looking for to call it.
Well, that's awesome. So, as I mentioned, before, January is National Mentoring Month. And so, you guys have kind of talked a little bit about your mentors. How was this mentorship different from traditional training or other learning experiences, right? I mean, there's no set playbook for it. Right. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about how it's different than what you've previously experienced in terms of training?
So as far as traditional training goes, when I hear traditional training, I think in a classroom.
Click, click. Yeah, there you go.
PowerPoint,
Yeah.
exactly. And then it's kind of relying upon you to take that information and apply it to, your surroundings with your people. With the mentor, you have a sounding board, right? Like you have someone you can talk things through with. If you're having a difficult situation, they can use their experience to help you work through that. They can give you new perspectives on things that you may not have even thought about before. And it's really a personal kind of experience, because you kind of have to open up to your mentor in order to, really figure out.
You kind of get out of it what you put into it
exactly.
on both sides.
Exactly.
And it may not be, if you're looking for a formal, hey, what's the formula? How do we unlock the keys? I don't want to tell you that. We'll tell you the story and some of the lessons learned and things like that. Khalil, how about you?
Meeting Todd time and time again showed me the various aspects of different leadership styles, and meeting someone in his position that was truly energized by innovation inspired me to keep going. He was like, sky's the limit. He was constantly looking for constant improvement and changes and innovation. And he insisted those things. His trust in his team was really inspiring to me. The way that he backs off as a leader a little bit and lets his team work was really awesome. Seeing how he does that. And IT is a really awesome department to work for.
It is, and it's a rapidly changing landscape. So innovation at the key. And I know Todd does that. And we talk about being, hands off is a term that we often use, but it's really kind of letting your people do their jobs and not micromanaging them to the point. But that doesn't mean that you're not keying in on results, because our IT group gets results every day, and it's phenomenal. Shaina, how about you?
So when I was with Christina Cordon, of course, she's in Parks and Rec and Natural Resources,
Yes,
right?
yes.
That big long thing. I was in a meeting with her where she had all of her team members there. They are trying to get CAPRA accreditation, which is a big thing for parks, right? So I was in there, and she was walking in, and I watched her in that meeting, and I was like, aha. That was my aha moment. I was like, I see how you got and how you are the leader that you are, because I could tell that she was like 3 steps ahead, and she's trying to bring all of her team along, as a good leader does, bring her team along to reach that same conclusion as she did, that, what they're trying to do is important, and all the work they put in for that meeting was important and would lead to better things.
Fantastic. So obviously you worked with your mentees, but you also worked with your team members, your LDP team members. So, I guess I would kind of say similar question. Any key moments in working with your teammates that stick with you?
The moment that I think will stick with me forever is when we gave our presentation and we got our standing ovation, and I looked out over.
That's rare, by the way.
I know, it was amazing. I looked out over the crowd. I saw the faces, but then I turned inward and looked at all of my LDP people, and the look of elation and pride on their faces for giving such a thing. I don't think that'll ever leave me.
That's awesome. How about you, Khalil? Any moments of working with your team that stick out with you?
Yeah, definitely. Making all those awesome video projects for the presentation itself, for the PowerPoint, was fun. Going out into the field and filming and different locations around the county, and brainstorming and being in these war rooms with all your classmates, just putting ideas together and having the coming together as friends. I don't know,
Right.
friends, but colleagues, creating that bond so that you can tell each other that, hey, your idea isn't that great. And you can kind of like laugh about it and move on and build something constructive and create a really awesome project together. So creating that bond through those creative projects was just really awesome.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. It's like any team exercise, right? That common purpose draws you together, and it's Fantastic. If you could go back to the beginning of the program, so, I mean, golly, think back almost a year ago, right? Is there anything you would personally do differently?
I think going back to
Did you walk in there with a bad attitude? No, I'm just kidding. I mean,
going back to the beginning of the program, I feel like maybe I would socialize a little bit more, open myself up. LDP is kind of a long project, so you get the opportunity to warm up to people, which is great. However, I wish I would have made those connections and those colleagues a lot sooner.
Yeah, well, you could have had more fun sooner, right? But in the end, it all worked out. How about you, Shaina?
Honestly, no, I don't think I would change anything, because to change anything would be to change the end result, and it's kind of hard to argue with a standing ovation.
Okay, so you are not a fan of time travel then.
No.
That's what I got it. All right. Well, Shaina, what role do you think, so you guys are obviously both, emerging leaders. You wouldn't be in that program were you not. What role do you think you and other emerging leaders are going to play in shaping Pasco's future? Shaina, why don't you start?
I feel like that, us as leaders or any of the emerging leaders coming out are really going to be here to help promote our own people, right? Like in order to have a working organization, you've got to have people that are wanting to come to work every day, that are wanting to give their best, that are wanting to, push Pasco County into being that top place to work like we got a couple of years ago. And it really is the leader's part to raise their people up.
Okay, very cool. Khalil, how about you? Emerging leaders, what's the future of that here?
Promoting keeping the culture of Pasco County, and also the future of the culture, is something we're constantly changing as a culture, and I think that's having leadership in line with that stays a little bit ahead of the curve, and staying with the trends in culture and keeping people happy and bringing the right people on board, is super important. And, knowing your neighborhood and knowing your people and culture.
That's awesome, because actually it's quite timely, because we're actually talking about just that, and I think you're going to see very, very soon a little more definition of that as we kind of take the next iteration of what our culture is becoming and what we want it to be. We're on the right path, and I think emerging leaders, I think to your point, are going to be key in helping to promote that. So with LDP under your belt, Khalil, what's next? What's the next move? Get a new job in IT. You already check. Next.
More training. I mean, I've always been so into trainings. I've done Lean Six Sigma and Sterling training and just about everything. The training group here at Pasco County are phenomenal, and I can't thank them enough for giving me all these skills to keep going with my career and deal with the ever changing working environment. So what's next is to just keep applying those skills, keep making Pasco County a great place to work for, and keep that. For me, in my mind, it's, we have the idea of hire the best, but I think we can pair that with retaining the best. And to do that, we have to continuously train our people and make people happy.
And growth is one of those things. We see that in our engagement scores from our employee as a positive. So they think that those opportunities do exist, which is good. But and to your point, I think it can always be expanded and can grow. We were talking a little bit offset before about the potential future training things that are underway right now that I think are gonna be absolutely amazing for this organization and for the culture. How about you, Shaina?
So several things I'm hoping to accomplish. One, I've not done Six Sigma Green Belt or Yellow Belt yet. I'm hoping to get into that. I would also like to take advantage of the county's tuition reimbursement program to go back and get my master's in library science.
Oh, very cool.
And I'm actually excited to announce that I actually just accepted recently a new position in libraries as the site supervisor of Starkey Ranch Theater And theater, library, and cultural center. Oh,
Fantastic. Wow. When does that start? I'll be there this afternoon, as a matter of fact.
Are you making that announcement right now?
I am. It's so it hasn't gone out officially yet, but by
the time we air,
by the time we air this, yeah.
Congratulations.
So thank you. Yes, I'm super excited about it, and so that's what's to come to me.
So already applying and already paying off.
Already paying off.
Hey, so I'm a team member here who maybe kind of. Am I a leader? Thinking about it, want to do this? I would still argue that we're all leaders, but really, do I want to take the next step? Any advice for those who are thinking about applying for the LDP? Khalil.
I would say get ready to expand your workload, because even though you're in LDP and you're doing this project, you still have your everyday day-to-day tasks. You still have your job to do. So just be mentally prepared to do a lot of fun projects, but also go back and deal with whatever needs to be done at the office.
Yeah. There's going to be a little bit. Don't let that scare you, obviously. But there is an additional commitment that comes with it. Big commitment. And same as you get through the mentor-mentee phases, right? Your mentors are certainly taking time to meet with you, hopefully a couple times a month, and doing that. But it's an organizational commitment. It's a commitment to the investment. It's an investment in your success is really how we look at it. And quite honestly, I learn as much from my mentees. I'm sure it's lopsided. I'm sure that I learn more from them than they learn from me, but it's a lot of fun. How about you, Shaina?
Do it. Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
All right.
Just do it. But in all honesty, if you're already thinking about that LDP might be for you, LDP is for you, right? So if you've got advice. People coming around you saying, you would be really good for this. This is where you need to be. That was my experience with it. Just do it, and you'll be better for it.
Well, I'm glad that you guys did both do it, and again, your class performed phenomenally. All classes have performed phenomenally. We have since I've been in this position, we have taken something from each class and literally have applied it into the organization, in some form or fashion, and actually use those same folks just to kind of help tweak it as it goes, since it was their idea, and there is. In our core value of innovation, it's about making things better. I always tell people, I don't need you to invent the next iPhone. Let's just make things just a little bit better, and we're going to be better off for it as an organization. So fantastic. So I got just a couple other follow-up questions for you. Very, very, very simple. They're binary. Khalil, you'll love these. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Thank goodness. All right, you guys are great. All right, here's iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Android.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right. I'm out.
She's got a green shirt on. That's why. Yeah. You turn those group texts green, don't you? All right. Music or silence?
Music.
Music for sure.
For sure, right?
Right?
Yeah. I don't even know. That's crazy. Windows or Mac to the IT guy now?
Oh, don't tell Todd it's Mac.
I know. Don't tell Todd. I have a Mac too. That's what I use.
Windows. I've never enjoyed Mac, but I only did it at school, so I can't speak on a professional level like Khalil can. So.
What's your emergency stress relief snack?
Ooh, ice cream.
Ice cream.
That's such a good question.
It's whatever's around, right? I just grab a handful of whatever's on somebody's desk.
With a lot of sugar in it.
Yeah, exactly. If you could have any fictional character as your coworker, so I don't care, it could be anybody, who would it be?
Oh,
yeah.
You take this one first.
Oh my.
Any fictional character.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with like Batman or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
He's got all the tools and like he's super smart. He's a billionaire. I'd love to have him sit next to me.
Yeah, and if anybody messes with you, just bruise knuckles there. So,
oh gosh, I'm going to say Sherlock Holmes, right? Because he can figure out any problem.
Love it.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Love it. Absolutely. Elementary. Perfect, guys. Well, listen, Shaina, Khalil, thanks for joining us today and being here. It was really great having you. I learned a lot from the conversation, and you guys have done a phenomenal job with LDP. So hope to see you involved in the program in the future. And it sounds like your careers are just kind of taking off here at the county. So we're happy for that. So I want to also give special thanks to our media relations team who make this effort possible. And thank you for joining us on this episode of Pasco Podcast. I'm Mike Carballa, and we'll see you next time.
For more information on Pasco County government, please visit mypasco.net.